Boys, who went to the anti-immigration protests on the weekend?
Nope.
You didn't go?
Nah.
You don't want to save Australia?
I don't disagree with it.
Yeah, good.
You know what I mean? I don't disagree with it. But obviously there was a lot of, I would assume that there would be a lot of people who are there who are just blatant racists, right?
Yeah, there were.
So you're going to get those.
Yeah, good. That was my reason too.
Regardless of how innocent it may have started.
Yeah. Michael, what about you?
I don't even know what happened on the weekend.
Yeah, because you're shielded by your white privilege. He doesn't care. He lives in this sexy neighborhood. Nobody cares what's going on in the outside world.
You could frame it in that way
Yeah, right.
if you chose to.
No, I didn't go because I didn't know who the
You want to get
organisers
bashed.
were. No. I knew most Australians were going to turn up that they have a legitimate reason, and I knew all kinds of people are going to turn up, but I just didn't know who the organisers were, and my fears turned out to be correct. What's that? NSN, a National Socialist Network.
Yep.
He got the mic. The organisers gave him a mic, and the guy is a self-proclaimed freaking Nazi. I mean, who calls himself a Nazi? Didn't the Nazis lose?
Yep.
Who wants to be associated with
But
losers?
Isn't anything associated with Nazis or Nazism like illegal? Like,
No,
isn't
it's not illegal. I mean, you're still protected by free speech. But I just can't understand how that guy is such like I didn't pay much attention to him, who he was, Thomas Sewell or Sewer or whatever his name is. And then he gate crashed yesterday. He gate crashed Jacinta Allen's press conference. And by the way, I'm not a fan of her. I'm actually roasting her all the time as our premier, if you know. You probably don't know. White privilege. It's a dangerous thing, my friends.
I heard her name recently, like literally I heard her name a couple of days ago. And I thought, isn't she the New Zealand Prime Minister?
She was Jacinta Ardern.
Jacinta. So I fucking know something. Hey?
They're both JAs, right?
Yes,
They're both
wow,
JAs,
double
so-
whammy.
And I think they slightly spell their names differently.
Yeah.
One's Jacinda, one's Jacinta.
Okay.
But yeah, close.
That's why I'm here to learn.
But did you guys also see even though we talk about it wasn't meant to be like a racist protest, but there was the clip in the paper or online where they had the people who had the Australian flags, okay, going to the protest, but they were at a Chinese restaurant having yum cha.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually pretty funny.
No, it's not funny because the person who posted it was like, as a gotcha moment, these people are they're not racist. They're not against immigration per se.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of them weren't. A lot of them weren't, right?
Avi covered it. He got,
So why are they there?
Huh?
Why are they there?
No, because
Why did they protest?
the same reason why you've been trying to
You
get
said anti-immigration.
anti-immigration. So where's my phone? Oh.
But I think it's anti-immigration, but it's not specifically against a race
Isn't
or
it-
a color.
Isn't it anti-non-assimilation immigration?
Not even just that.
No, I think it's
I hear
about
that-
mass. I think it's about mass immigration. Where at the moment Australia, where we're so short on housing, okay, and you see some of the articles online where people go to find a rental property and there's
Yeah, you just went through it.
100 people there.
How hard was it, Michael, for you to find a rental property? You've been looking for a house for but you bid. No, but you
Wasn't that hard?
yeah, but you bid.
It depends on your socioeconomic bracket.
Yeah, so you're in an expensive
yeah,
suburb
So in
already.
between- so it changes the competition.
But did you bid? Did
have
you
to
say
bid.
I'll pay $100 extra? No.
I don't think you can even do that.
You're not allowed to, but you have. But
Yeah.
I did it.
No, you can, but I think that
You
they
can offer
can't.
more.
They can't kind of make you do it or
No, of course
yeah.
they can't. But like,
Didn't we have the opposite during COVID, that tourism stopped or people coming in, and then we lacked a workforce?
so here's the
Yeah,
the
but I
numbers.
don't
A lot of places were struggling for
I don't think it's a
staff.
lack of work for. I don't think it's a job thing. I think it's more the standard of living in the sense of not being able to find housing. I think that's probably the overarching thing, right? And yes, there's
Infrastructure,
but there's other
services.
other things have jumped on top of that, which is the whole racism thing. But I think generally, I think a lot of people are just kind of finding it really difficult, okay, when we have so many people coming into Australia where a lot of people are lacking. I think that's what it is.
So who wants the numbers? So between 2020 to 2021, 85,000 people, there was a net exodus of 85,000 people. So we lost 85,000 people. 2021 to 2022, after COVID,
Is this Australia or is this?
It's Australia. So 171,000 people came into Australia. 2022 to 2023, 500,000 people came to Australia. So that's a net addition of 500,000
So those
people.
first 2 years were COVID, so no one was allowed
Yeah,
in.
and then
or-
2023, 2024, last financial year, 446,000 people came. So suddenly we've had 1 million
What about,
people.
no, hold on. What about prior to 2020?
Oh, it used to be like 100,000 new people would come in
I
every
know
year.
it used to. I want the exact numbers.
Huh?
I want the exact numbers.
No,
please.
that was the agreed upon number that Australia will have 100,000
100
people.
You sure about that? We
Yeah,
just
yeah.
had 100,000 a year.
Yeah,
come
no,
in.
no. So that's the debate going on right now. So the Albanese government is saying, okay, we're reducing it, and next year we're going to have 250,000 people come in, and the opponents of that are saying the number should be dropped to 100,000 people because at the end of the day, we're not building new cities. Most people who come in, they want to live in Melbourne and Sydney, but the situation is not any different in smaller cities like Perth either. So every house that you apply for, you get 100 other families who are applying for the same.
We do have a system where we try and encourage regional
doesn't
migration.
work. Yeah, like Mikey, our producer, Mikey, were you told to
He's an immigrant.
find, yeah, he's an immigrant, Irish immigrant. Get the F out of country. No. So weren't you asked to go to a regional town or something to work? Right, so 3 months.
Yeah,
but once you've done it,
they also have if you live there or if you work
Yeah.
there, they give you a bonus. I know they do it with doctors.
There was a couple guys from our cricket club. They were like, I guess, immigrants, or they had to go live out rural.
yeah, Sheehan.
No, there was another two other guys. I can think Love.
Right,
Creek,
okay, whatever.
But the thing is, they consider Wallert, I think, and all that.
What?
as regional. I think from what he was telling me.
Right.
So I think they lived in Epping or something, and then they had to a requirement. They had to go out to regional. So then they were able to move out to Wallert, which is only sort of up the road, right? Or Wallert or Wallen. But
Wallert.
even then, right? That was considered.
I think
rural.
Wallen. It would be Wallen, not
Yeah.
Wallert. Wallert is still
No, it was something
metropolitan.
close. It was fairly close because when he told me, I was like, "Oh, that's so many people live there. That's not even that far from the city, all right?
Oh.
In that sense, so even those sorts of areas, suburbs are considered as regional, and people are moving there because of that.
Yeah, but anyway, the point is, so these are legitimate grievances of people, yeah? So everyday Aussies are feeling the pinch. So they're like, hang on a second, why are there so many people coming in? It's not a racist movement. That's exactly what they
But
did.
they're feeling the pinch of no properties, or is it another pinch? Or is there lots of pinches? What are these pinches they're feeling?
This is a pretty big pinch, and people are struggling to pay their bills because I was looking at this. So our economy has been growing for the last 2 years at 1.5%. Usually that is being
but that makes sense because we've had 500,000 extra people.
exactly.
Coming in,
So we're adding those people. So even though when your CPI grows by 1% or whatever, your wealth is actually not increasing. Everything else is going up. Your electricity, your power, your gas bills are going up. Your rent is going up. Everything's going up, but people are struggling to maintain the bills. And I was looking at some of these numbers, like homelessness has grown in Australia. It's never grown. I forgot the actual number, but it was the fastest rate of homelessness in the last 75 years or something. So these things are silently happening just because we live in our little bubbles. And we think, oh, hang on a sec. That's exactly what they did in the UK. And now, all of a sudden, the UK is looking at this major cultural revolution. My buddy Tommy Robinson over there is going to bring in 1 million people on the streets of London. And up until this point, the establishment, the government, they kept telling them, oh, you're just racist far-right thugs. Well, no. So in Australia, the similar thing is happening, probably not on the same scale. But in Australia, we don't have a Tommy Robinson. We don't have a leader who's who's leading this.
We've got a Harris Sultan.
No, I'm not a fucking leader. I like to wake up 10 a.m. in the morning, have my lattes, make a couple of videos, and
He
chill.
didn't
You
get
know,
many votes last time when it was on the ballot.
I did get 10,000 votes. How many? I did get 10,000. No, but I learned politics is not my cup of tea. I can't do it. You have to lie a lot. I like to live a simple, honest life, though. But having said that, though, Pauline Hanson, she was the only mainstream politician who led one of these protests in Canberra. In Melbourne, this was hijacked by far-right racists. People came out because of these legitimate grievances. These everyday Aussies, they're not racist. We've lived all our lives here. People are not racist. And they came out because of these pinches. And then this guy, Thomas Sewell, he got up on stage and he gave a freaking speech. That guy, I mean, he's 30 years old. He's a baldy. Look at him. He can't even get a full set of hair and he says he belongs to a superior race. Fuck. You got hair.
Just 'cause he's bald
You look at him
doesn't
from
mean-
behind, he looks like a dickhead. And when you turn him around, he still looks like a dickhead.
People love balding guys at the moment, yeah. So
No,
it's a thing.
no. So
It's
there's
a
a
thing.
petition. There's a petition because, funnily enough, he was born in New Zealand. So there's a petition that he should be deported back to New Zealand. I actually support that because if Islamic terrorists, rightfully so, if they're dual nationals, they should be deported. If you've declared war on this country, then we shouldn't have you.
Didn't they introduce powers to the immigration guy to be able to deport people if they break a law or if they're criminals?
That's what I thought it should be. I mean,
but
laws have lapsed a lot in the last 10 years or so due to woke politics.
But but then also you think about that. Then if that's the case, then with all the home break-ins and the carjackings at the moment, okay,
Sudanese are behind that. Most of them,
why-
10 times
why isn't-
overrepresented.
why isn't those things happening? Just because they're, I guess, underage? Is that
No,
that-
no, not just because they're underage. It's just because it's difficult. We've made these laws very difficult. They are more
I think
humane.
Just recently, sort of off topic, but see in one of the suburbs recently where a mum was like loading up the car. She had a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old in the back of the car, and the car was starting. She was right there, and then a car drove up, and then 2 guys jumped in the car, drove off. She kind of ran after them, but then one of the guys jumped in the back seat. One guy jumped in the driver's seat. They drove off, and then they eventually just put the 2 kids on the road somewhere up the road, and both of them got caught, I think. But then they were released out on bail. It's just, how was that even possible?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
It's just woke politics. I'm telling you. So
But regardless of that, I guess the whole immigration thing, I sort of agree with it. Even though my parents were immigrants, but I think at the moment is something needs to be done about it.
this is what I don't get. Yeah. So this Abby Chatfield, I don't know if you know her. She's a poster girl of the
She's so left though, right? She's so left.
So this is the best argument. Yeah. They say that we're all immigrants. So what does that mean? Does that mean we should open up Australia for 100 million people, 200 million? What's the upper limit? Everything has to be done in an orderly fashion, yeah? You're second generation Vietnamese. I'm a first generation Paki. You're fourth generation Greek, Cypriot, Ukrainian, God knows what.
Second generation.
We have our producer is first generation Irish immigrant. He's a visa holder. I mean, we're all immigrants, yeah? So we get it. But that doesn't mean that you should just open up and don't build your infrastructure. It's not a race issue.
Maybe only let hot women in.
That's not only racist, it's actually incredibly sexist too. We don't tolerate this kind of conversation on this podcast. It's called a man pod, but it doesn't mean we have to.
It's still subjective.
Okay,
still
why?
subjective.
Well, actually, these days, being a woman is subjective. I mean, imagine all these Sudanese men say, I identify as a hot woman. Let me in. And you're stuck with them. You're going to have to take them out on dates.
Well, I think I'm not sure we spoke about it before, but I think it's the whole Sudanese thing. It goes in cycles, right? And I think we spoke about it, is that it happens with the Greeks, Italians, the Vietnamese. They form kind of these gangs, but it's just them getting into a new country. and they want to feel that they belong. So they kind of gather together, and that's what happens. Look, the Vietnamese just recently in the 90s, right, or not 80s,
Even early
and
90s, like Footscray. We used to go to. I went to uni
used
there.
To be, the stabbings and machetes and stuff. With
We
the
used to be
Vietnamese all the
scared.
time, right?
But now
it
it's
does-
changed.
Yeah, it's not saying that it is right, but these things happen, and eventually the Sudanese people will kind of assimilate to Australian culture as they grow older and as the young kids start to grow and live in Australia. I think those things will start to change, right? But at the moment,
But what if they don't?
But
Because
history,
some cultures
history says it does. It will.
So here's my opinion on that. Yeah. So I came to Australia in 2003. I went to Victoria University in Footscray, and we used to hear about it all the time. Oh, Footscray, don't go there. Vietnamese gangs, stabbings, whatever.
Yeah.
And now we don't hear anything about Vietnamese gangs.
No,
yeah.
because,
So they have a similar. I get it.
all those young Vietnamese kids back in the day, they're all grown up now. So, and some of them have, or a lot of them have kids, and they're married. I know some of them, right? A lot of them, and they've kind of grown out of it. And then the kids who are born through those generations, they're Australian. They're
I get that.
Aussies now, so they don't need to feel like they don't belong. So those things don't happen.
I get that. So that happened in the case of the Vietnamese community, but it's not guaranteed that it's going to happen across the board with all cultures, because you have second, third generation Pakistanis in Britain that haven't assimilated. The second, third generation Pakistani Americans have assimilated. So not every culture is going to assimilate the way some other culture did.
I think it's a little bit different. I think Australian culture is a little bit different though, in that sense. And but like I said, history shows that it does. Like, it's not just the Vietnamese; it's the Greeks and the Italians as well.
That's what I'm saying.
In the 60s, isn't
yeah,
it?
because Greeks and Italians were Europeans, so they had their own baggage, and obviously didn't take that long for them to assimilate. Now, Vietnamese in Australia, obviously they assimilated, but there's so many other cultures that do not assimilate. For example, there's Algerians in France, the Turks in Germany, there's Pakistanis and Bangladeshis in Britain who didn't assimilate after 3 or 4 generations. Some cultures are not going to integrate. Vietnamese, for example, do they have a culture of wherever we go, we have to dominate, we have to take over, we have to, form our own government or something? No. Islam does that. Islam perpetuates that. Islam divides the world into 2 major groups, Darul Harb and Darul Islam. Darul Islam means House of Islam, Muslim countries, House of Islam. And then you have Darul Harb, which is a house of war, where you have to go and you have to turn that into a House of Islam.
It is without a doubt, the Quran is the only way forward. The Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only system that we should abide to, that we should follow, that we should seek to establish on earth.
Now, ordinary Muslims don't know that. They may not know that, and that's perfectly fine. My family's Muslim. They're not actively, secretly planning to, we're going to take over Australia or not. But then you only need some leaders. You only need some people, like Muslim Brotherhood. Hizb ut-Tahrir. Hizb ut-Tahrir in this country is banned in Egypt, is banned in Pakistan, is banned in Bangladesh, but it's registered as a charity organization in Australia. Muslim Brotherhood is banned in most Middle Eastern countries as an extremist Islamist group, but it's registered as charity in England. I think Germany just recently banned them. It's listed as a charity in America. And they're the ones who have radicalized Western universities. And that's why you see these people waving ISIS and Hamas flags in university campuses. And Western leaders are like, oh, but we have free speech. What do we do? Well, you're breeding radicalization in this country. And these people say that. They burn Australian flags. Did you see those people who were burning Australian flags? No. I'm not a very nationalist kind of a person, but fuck that.
Where did this happen?
At Federation Square. They burned it last week when those people turned up on Sydney Harbour Bridge. Julian Assange, and behind him, they had Ayatollah's photos. Like, Julian Assange. I mean, I used to love that guy, but he's hanging out with these people who glorify the Ayatollahs, Hamas. Like, fuck's sake, there's a reason. No, Vietnamese people were never going to get into it. Yeah, I'm a bit ignorant of Vietnamese culture, that they might have their own whatevers, but there is a reason why Vietnamese actually integrated and assimilated. They didn't have the cultural baggage that Muslims or Islamists bring. Now, Sudan is a predominant. Now, I'm not saying Sudanese people here are doing that in the name of Islam. I'm not saying that. I think Sudanese people, refugees, they've come here from, war-torn countries. That brings in different kind of problems. I better shut up on that.
No, but I think eventually things will start to change.
Yeah.
Okay, for the Sudanese or the new immigrants, but it doesn't change. But it doesn't help people living now who are scared, right?
We're getting stabbed,
but also it doesn't help the majority, the 95% of other Sudanese people who are living in peace, I guess, right? Who are doing the right thing, not doing anything that a normal Australian who has been here for the last 30, 40, 50 years isn't doing. But so that's what's going to cause this hatred. And I think we spoke about already, social media plays a big part in this.
But that's why,
right?
but that's why the other 95% of Sudanese people who are good, hardworking people, want to live in peace, that's why the onus is on them to come out, start condemning these people. The reason why England is ready to blow up, it's fucking about to blow up, okay? You guys will see. Like, I've been sounding the alarm for a while. It's about to blow up. England is looking at a civil war, and it's no longer a secret anymore. Elon Musk is tweeting about that. And a lot of people, because of course the vast majority of Muslims living there, they're just decent, ordinary, everyday Muslims. They've got nothing to do with these radical Islamists and jihadis. They want to live their life. They want to be left alone. But sorry, you can't be left alone. You need to come out and condemn these people. But what they do, they don't condemn them. They actually condemn people like Tommy Robinson who are condemning these Islamists. They say, "Oh, you're racist. You're far right." That's a.
But are they though? I think.
It's yeah, absolutely.
I think
I follow all of them.
But I think it's just more the woke people who are the loudest who do that. I think
they form alliances with wokes.
Yeah, but I think the
like Abby Chatfield in Australia.
Yeah, but the normal general people living their lives, I don't think they're going either way. I think they're just in the middle.
No, but you can't stay silent.
Like myself, they're just uninformed.
No, but you're white privilege.
Yeah.
I'm talking.
But it's just they're just living it every day, right?
I'm joking.
No.
That's woke language, not my language. I just thought that I've said it so many times, people might actually start believing it.
Yeah, I don't think they're either way. So I don't know. I don't know about the whole.
So you think when things are heating up, where the collective temperature of the public is so high, because all of these things are set in motion and they're set in their ways, and the Pakistani or the Muslim community of Britain, they're saying, we're perfect, we're good, there's no problem, don't look at us, you're far right racist thug, that's it. And then on the other side, which are the far right, they're saying, we've had enough. We've had so many grooming gangs, we've had our girls raped, we've had so many stabbings. We've seen so many Muslim ghettos where no ordinary Brit can go. We've had enough. Now we have to deport you all. There's a word that's being thrown in England. And again, these echo chambers have got millions of people in it. And they're saying remigration. I don't care if you're a third or fourth generation British Asian or whatnot. We need to remigrate you. Because when demographics start changing, so 8%. So the Muslim population in Britain has doubled every 10 years. Yeah. So it was 2% at the turn of the century. Now it's 8%. And it's going to double again by 2032 or 2033.
Is it because of migration or breeding?
It's actually funny.
I think breeding is not a thing.
Breeding is a thing.
No,
Having sex and making a child is not a thing.
Well, I don't think so. Isn't a lot of countries, Asian countries now? I think we spoke about it already.
White people, not fucking brown people.
Yeah, but generally, like we're talking about mass here.
Yeah, so
right?
white people are not making babies, and immigrants, brown people are making babies. So 16% of the British population is going to be Muslim by 2035.
That's what I'm asking, because of breeding, not because of
and that's because of breeding plus immigration as well. Because as the population shrinks, they bring in more people. They're not bringing more people in from Germany and France or other white countries. They're bringing them in from where? Bangladesh, Sudan. So there is a real change. Now, these people, again, most people are fine, but people tend to live within their own culture. They think their culture is the way to go, and that's perfectly fine. That is going to have societal impact that is going to push people towards more extreme narratives. So do something about it now.
This is the UK. This isn't Australia.
It's going to happen here too. Why would Australia be different?
Well, you've lived in the UK. I have. I'm not sure if you lived in the UK. So
How is it
is
different?
is the difference between Australia and the UK is it purely because
They don't have
we're
good coffee there.
No, but is it purely just because we're a younger nation than what England, I guess, is, or what is the difference?
Number of factors. So Australia's immigration laws have been good. Like, I mean, we don't have an illegal immigration
It's
problem.
harder to reach here by
Yeah,
No, but
transport,
bro,
and it's easier to protect the border.
it's easier to protect the border. But if we let illegal immigration get out of control, or if we were not that hardcore with protecting our borders, then there are so many people who are desperate and poor. They will come. I don't care.
Is Nauru or Christmas Island still a thing? Where
No, but that's one of the things. So until 2010, no, they've all been shut down, I think now.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah, they've been shut down because of, it's inhumane. In England, they've put these people from Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, high testosterone, all fighting age men. They put them in ordinary hotels just like here, and then they go out, and then sexual violence goes up, normal violence goes up. That's why it's ready to blow up.
But you know what? Talking about that, I've always been curious about statistics. Is that we get a lot of statistics saying that everything has gone up. Is it gone up because more of it is happening, or is it just be more reported?
More of that is happening.
Or is just more widely acceptable and more widely reported on these days? Than what
It could be. It could be a bit of both, but there is no denying that it's happening. A lot more of that is happening, and it's happening at the hands of the non-natives. Let me find you some statistics. I mean, it's not even.
Like, I'm a big stats person, but sometimes I think stats can be misleading, right? Because we're reporting
Not in
more
this
now,
case,
right? And women are reporting like sexual assault and all those things a lot more than potentially what they did 20 years ago.
That's a good point.
30 years ago. And they're more comfortable in actually reporting that stuff, which is good, right? But is it just happening more, or is it's being reported more?
It's happening more. I don't know the statistics.
I don't
with me
know.
right now.
I sometimes think it might happen. It might be still happening, and it was happening previously, but it's just being reported more. They're more comfortable reporting. I think so. That's why I think that's why the number looks like it's getting higher, but it's always been the same.
This is my favorite one. So in Germany, yeah, this is a demographic breakdown of the German population. 88% Germans are native Germans. 12% are foreigners. That 12% are responsible for 67% of gang rapes in Germany.
When they consider someone a foreigner,
Yeah, someone who's not born there.
if someone's not born there, okay,
Yeah, someone who's not born there.
Because I was saying, if I was to do something,
No, so
I
you
was
will be
born
considered
there.
as an Aussie.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. How would they? Yeah, how would they?
You'll be
calculate?
Oh, wow. Sexual offenses per 10,000 people, yeah? So Afghanistan, people who are born in Afghanistan are at 58. Eritrea, 52. Namibia, this is Britain. And the UK is only at 3. So 3 out of 10,000 UK people are accused of sexual offense. Whereas if you were born in Afghanistan, 53 out of 10,000. That's a huge number. So these stats are being seen by millions of people in the UK.
Well, that's accused though,
Huh?
right?
Yeah,
Is that accused
yeah.
or convicted?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I know. You want to run that? Hang on a second.
But then, okay, I'll
No,
bring up
I
another
know what
thing.
you mean,
I'll
but
bring
you
another
want to
thing
run
as
that
well.
risk if you have these kind of numbers. Would you say that? Oh,
No, I wouldn't. But also, is it
Yeah,
also could this also be?
so yeah. So let's
but
just
could
let
this
them
also
say.
be,
Hey.
though? Do you know
Why don't you look at it like this? What's 50 divided by 3? So if
47.
so you're 47 times more likely to.
Yeah.
if you're an Afghan.
However, though, is this something as well? There might be some sort of systemic racism here potentially. Okay, is that how the whole when a lot of guys or a lot of people talk about there's like good-looking privilege, right? So if a good-looking guy goes up to a girl at a bar and they're they're kind of talking to them,
No.
then the female
I got hundreds of videos.
will feel like, oh, you know, it's okay. But then if someone who they don't consider as good looking tries to hit on them, then they think they're
So
a
you're saying
creep.
Afghans are not good looking?
No, I'm just saying, no, but I'm not talking about looks in this sense. I'm saying like that, where people might, the whole sexual assault thing is that there might be some minor instances that might happen where if a native English person or native Australian person might do it,
Splitting hairs.
but then if someone who looks like a foreigner does it, then they go get reported, accused of something.
See, I've been making videos on these topics for over 2 years, and I've got hundreds of videos where I can see some people who are Afghans or Syrians or whatever in London, and then they would just approach women, and women are saying, leave me alone, and then they stalk them, harass them, which is like no native person. By native, I mean person who's grown up here would not approach a woman like that. So I know it's not just as an ordinary person, someone who, because you're using your common sense, you're like, could it be that? Could it be that? So, which is a good indicator that how general public would see these stats initially. But when they dig more into it, and when we start playing those videos, they'll be like, oh shit, this is not how any person who's born and raised in England or in Australia would approach a woman. So the stats that I just gave you, so 67% of the gang rapes are committed by 12% foreigners in Germany. Yeah. So there's a further breakdown in that. So within those foreigners, like, I mean, someone from, in Germany, someone from France could be considered a foreigner, or an American could be considered a foreigner. Yeah. There's a further breakdown. So out of the 12%, less than 1% are Afghans, and 1% are Africans. So out of that 67%, here's the interesting bit. 15% of those gang rapes are committed by Afghans, yet they only account for less than 1% of that foreigner bracket. And 19% of those gang rapes are committed by Africans, who also make only 1%. So out of that 67%, 34% of gang rapes are committed by less than 2% Afghans and Africans. So there are certain outliers that sit there. And there is no, if you look at Norway, if you look at Britain, like I can't find all the stats right now, everywhere, there's certain nationalities that just stick out.
Do you know what's actually crazy to me? Is that look, there's actual gang rapes that happen so much that there's actually stats on it. Like,
Yeah?
How, I can't comprehend it. I can't comprehend how you could do that. Like, that's just, yeah. And for it to happen so many times that there's actual stats on it.
Have you heard about the Grooming Gang scandal in England?
No.
Have you heard about it, Mickey? Yeah, you barely. I think I spoke about it. So I always assumed that the UK would be very similar to Australia, but I think we got lucky when the Cronulla riots happened for whatever reason. I think our politician and the police did the right thing. They got the culprits and they just sentenced them as per normal. It didn't become the new norm here. So in England, they started becoming woke a bit too soon, and now it's all come out. It's a part of public record now. It's not a conspiracy theory anymore. That's how Tommy Robinson became famous. So he was one of the first people who kept highlighting it, and then he would go on the BBC and he would be interviewed by these hotshot TV shows, and they would just laugh him out, and they'll say, "You're a, you're a
Conspiracy theorist?
no, you're." So in England, there's you know how we don't actually make fun of yobbos or bogans here, like maybe, but in England it's so systematic. So they've actually divided it. They call it the working class. You know, these are tattooed people. They're working class. They're low class people. They actually divide that, and then you have these Oxford and you have Cambridge students and these ruling elite and the aristocrats and the
We
speak
don't really
Queen's
have that
English.
here, yeah.
Huh?
So we're all the working class because
Yeah, well, no,
we
because
don't have any of those.
I
blue
feel like I'm a
bloods.
bogan sometimes, really.
yeah, because in Australia, because you can see that in Australian Parliament. Like an MP would be speaking like a bogan. Yeah, he's
That's
not
what
going to
I
hide
mean.
his
That's what I
Aussie
mean.
accent.
There is no upper class here.
Exactly. There's no. But in England, you can't talk like you can't talk like Tommy Robinson in British Parliament. So they all have those posh accents and they talk like this. So they laughed him out of the room, and he kept saying, "No, there's this rape taking place of white working class girls on an industrial scale. And now it's come out. So England has somewhere in the ballpark figure is, some people put it at 100,000 girls have been raped over the last 20 years, mainly in the 90s and early 2000s. And it's still been going on until very recently. All working class girls, teenagers, 13, 14-year-old girls, at the hands of tiny minority of British Pakistani men. You might have seen those memes of hundreds upon hundreds of mugshots of all brown Pakistanis. And so they created this culture, and the Labour Party there, because they had these Pakistani constituencies, that they covered it up. It's come out. It's actually come out publicly. And some police officers have said that, oh, we didn't want to be labeled racist. In the name of community cohesion, you know, we didn't want to pursue these charges. And these girls, you know, they brought this upon themselves.
And people have since resigned.
A lot of people have, some people have resigned, but some
Police
people have now.
officers and politicians have resigned.
Yeah, so
How long ago was this? Like the
90s, throughout the 90s, throughout the 2000s.
When it came out.
Oh, it started coming. So this report came out from the Home Office just 2 or 3 months ago, where they, for the first time in 25 years, they acknowledged that yes, British Pakistani men are way overrepresented in these. There's a separate category, like you were talking about gang rape. So, are that many happening? So there's child CSCs, which is child exploitation, which is like these normal pedophiles that all of us are aware of. There's a white middle-aged bald man that goes to these kiddie playgrounds and then he tries to give them a candy or whatever. So that's what we think of when we think of pedophiles. Now there's a separate category that was taking place in the UK alone. It's called GCSE, Group Child Sexual Exploitation. So what these Pakistani taxi driver, kebab shop men, what they will do, they will ply these young 12, 13-year-old working class girls with alcohol, drugs, and then they will share them around. They're literally thousands upon thousands. Yeah, thousands upon. It's all come out. Like Daily Mail has reported. Like there's so many reports that have come out. Now, initially, the public was like you. No, it must be just one. So one town called Rotherham, 1,400 girls identified 400 Pakistani men in a town where the total population of Pakistani men was 1,000. Yeah? 400 men were identified by 1,400 girls that they were abused by these men.
But 1,400 girls?
Yeah, 1,400 girls. And I think 200 of them ended up getting charged. And I think, I don't know, some maybe. So the point is, a town, tiny town, they only made up 10% of the population, Pakistani men. There were 1,000. Out of 1,400 of them were identified by girls that they got exploited, they got groomed and raped, and shared around by cousins, by fathers and sons, uncles and nephews were sharing these girls around. It's so outrageous that the mainstream British public did not want to hear about it. So Tommy Robinson has been sounding that alarm, the poor guy. That's why I love him. I love the guy so much. Like, anyway, and now this is why now it's blown up. So over time, people started believing it, and now 1 million people are going to come out and they're going to protest.
I think
You can't wrap your head around these numbers.
I think about the 400 or the 200 who were convicted. Do they not think about their sisters, their wives, their daughters, their nieces when this happens? Like, do they? It's
So
like, don't they think about, okay, what if this was to happen to my daughter or my niece or my sister or my mother?
You're thinking like a normal man. So
No, but I can't comprehend that. Like, I honestly can't. They're doing it to a girl, but what if they had 200 men doing it to their daughter? It's like, would they not get completely fucked off? They would get so angry. Like, they would probably want to kill people, but yet they're doing it to other girls or other people's daughters and nieces and sisters and whatnot. That's just crazy.
I want to get this right, so I want to quote this to you. So this is what I mean by cultural integration. Yeah. So these are British Pakistanis who are second or third generation there. So their parents moved there in the 50s. Yeah. Look at this. There's so many. 18, 6 convicted, 18 people found guilty over Newcastle, blah, blah, blah. So there was this headline that came out. One of the, oh yeah, there you go. So this guy who got convicted of young girls, let me quote him. White women are good only for people like me to use as trash. Now there's a systemic culture. When we say multiculturalism is our strength, multiculturalism enriches us, diversity is our strength.
It generally does.
No.
Generally.
No, it doesn't mean that you just get, cool festivals like Diwali or Holi, or you get to eat awesome cuisines. Every culture has good bits and bad bits. Yeah, we agree. So they're going to bring in their bad bits as well. So you have to be aware of what are going to be the bad bits. So this is what I was alluding to earlier. So when you bring in people from war-torn countries where people have seen their uncles getting chopped off or hacked into a million pieces in a civil war, they've been exposed to that kind of violence. And they come into a peaceful Melbourne suburb like this, and this is trauma. And when you bring in from cultures that are heavily focused on honor-based culture, yeah? So Islam is very focused on honor, yeah? I should arrange your marriage, you shouldn't talk to a man, blah, blah, blah. So is that a native problem if I told you that 100 British girls were taken to other countries and honor killed? You'd be like, what white parent is going to do that? So they are not white British, they're Pakistani and Afghan British or some African British who are taking their daughters back to the native countries, and then they are murdering them because she had a non-Muslim boyfriend, or she, not even non-Muslim, she had a Muslim boyfriend that her father didn't want her to marry. FGM, thousands of girls, British girls. FGM is female genital mutilation, which is female circumcision, which is an Islamic practice, but predominantly practiced in Africa. So a lot of African Brits used to take, actually no. So they recently, a couple of years ago, they passed a legislation that you can't do that in England. So they outlawed it. Some African doctors were doing that in England. And the purpose of FGM is to cut off the clitoris so she doesn't enjoy sex too much. That's the purpose. So once it got outlawed in Britain, they would take their girls to Africa and mutilate the genitals there. So these are cultural practices. So when someone tells you like, hey, multiculturalism enriches us, just be mindful that it's going to enrich you with these kind of things as well.
I guess ignorant question here. What's the difference between the female circumcision and the male circumcision? Like, I think one is also cultural. Well, the male.
They're both cultural.
Yeah, but I'm saying one is I guess widely accepted, and the other one's not. Is it just the intent around it, or like what's the difference? I guess.
Well, I know only Jews and Muslims practice male circumcision.
Yeah, but I think it's also happening now a lot more common with people outside of those cultures. You know what I mean? From what I hear.
Yeah, because
health
of
reasons. Supposedly it's a bit healthier to not have the skin.
which is again, yeah.
I'm not circumcised.
But going by what Harris just said, that I think it is the intent.
Intent,
One's
right?
health
So
reasons,
the intent
maybe
of
a little bit of
not
cultural.
not being able to get pleasure from sex is the intent. Whereas
That's for females only.
no, I'm saying for females, right? But the male one is that the whole thing about it's meant to be cleaner, it's meant to be this. So is it just really the intent? And I'm not saying this is right, but if they were to change the intent of the female circumcision, would that eventually change people's minds around it?
What do you mean? I don't get it.
Because it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
To do a female circumcision, but it's acceptable for the male one. So what's the difference?
because the repercussions for female are far more severe. Like, I mean, you've literally taken one of the greatest joys nature has given to us away from a female. Like, that's just
so
horrible.
that's what I'm saying. So it's the intent of it, right? If they didn't go around saying it's so women don't have pleasure in having sex, but they changed the narrative to it's to make them cleaner or to less dirty or whatever, the health reasons. would that change people's minds?
Well, I think so. Like, I mean, if it didn't have any adverse effects, like, for example, a lot of Westerners are now circumcising males. They're circumcising their penises because they've bought into this idea that somehow it's cleaner. Like, I don't know, I'm circumcised, so I won't. Nobody asked me to do it. And some people say that when you cut off the foreskin, then you lose some sensory bits, and obviously you tend to enjoy less. And I'm like, maybe it was a good thing because I already enjoy sex too much. Imagine then, I would have gone totally crazy if I enjoyed it anymore.
He's already too quick as it is.
It's got nothing to do with.
He's already too fast as it is.
Got nothing to do with that. But whatever, I don't care. I don't care. But for females, though, Muhammad thankfully said, "But do not cut too deep." Thank you, Muhammad, because if you cut it too deep, then there's no pleasure at all. But it's just. Anyway, I'm not fully convinced. Look, we are all beneficiaries of multiculturalism, yeah? Your parents came, you were born here, I came here as a student, whatnot. But that doesn't mean we should not tell the truth, that it's not all bed of roses.
How does this come back to the anti-immigration riots in Australia that happened?
No, so
when that happened? Weekend.
Last weekend?
Yeah, last weekend on the 31st.
So how does all this tie into?
No. I acknowledge that Australia doesn't have an Islamist problem, that the kind of problem that France or Germany or the UK have.
Saying it could happen,
But it could happen if we are not careful. I've been sounding the alarm. I've been saying it can happen in
we are
Australia.
very strict here. You agree with that?
We are generally pretty strict compared to a lot of other countries.
I have a feeling
With everything, fruits. And this side topic, a mate of mine got fined from going to Melbourne to Adelaide because he forgot he had a banana in his car.
I like that. You know what, Michael?
So we are strict when it comes to a lot of silly things.
We used to hate that, yeah? Like, we'll get a fine over a very silly thing. But when we were in Italy, we saw how people drive, how people park, and we're like, Australia is such a nanny state. But then I said, you know what? Until I visited Europe, I used to hate the way Australia governed its people. But now I'm saying, you know what? It's actually a good thing because it does keep people in line. We don't want to get a fine. Like, you're always concerned. You're looking at,
I parked around the corner now, 4
parking
hours.
Yeah. Yeah, otherwise, we stress out. Even though we can afford it, we still stress out because we don't want to do the wrong thing.
I don't think it's about not doing the wrong thing. I just don't want to pay for something I don't really need to.
Yeah, but okay, whatever. Like, it's still
It's
a bit
a financial thing.
No, but even if you had more money, I'm still saying I think you still wouldn't want to do it. We don't want to. Australia is one of the highest
citizens.
We are one of the most high trust societies. And that's what I'm saying. When you bring in people from dodgy countries, they bring in their own. Like, I know Pakistan is dodgies. They look at things differently. Go to some of these western suburbs, yeah? Like, the demography is changing there.
I'm from the west.
No, but have you gone to Tarneet? Have you seen Tarneet? Like, the culture is changing, and I really fear for Australia. I just don't want Australia to become another third world country. There's some parts of England, I could show you some videos. You'd be like, what the fuck is this? Is this Islamabad or something? Is that some place in Africa or something? But no. When people come in from third world countries, they don't leave their third world habits behind. They don't. They're plastic bags flying in East London, trash lying everywhere in immigrant regions only. It's not because all of a sudden services stopped working there. It's because people don't care. Throw it. It's like, these things are real. So anyway.
Yeah, I like your argument that assimilation happens organically over time. I mean, you can't force it, and I understand.
But should we risk it?
Well, this is the $1 million question.
Should we risk it?
But I think there's arguments for both sides, right?
It did happen in England.
Yeah, but you're saying should we risk it? But then that's the thing, though, is that like everything, people like to toe the line, okay, and then the line gets a little bit further, and then they try to toe it again, and then they try to keep towing it as it gets further out, right? So you're saying, do we risk it? Okay, if we were to, let's say, cease or make it a lot stricter, who says that in 10 years' time, and then suddenly it becomes even stricter, or people start calling it, oh, it's not strict enough, and then it keeps going, right? So it's always about finding that balance.
Did we
So
have
what's the balance?
But did we have anti-immigration protests in Australia 5-10 years ago? Nobody gave. People don't care if their lives are not affected by it. In England, people did not protest at all. Now they're about to blow up because something's happened. So people are only going to shout from the rooftops when they see that something is adversely affecting their life or their lifestyle. So then people will say it. If it doesn't work, if whatever you're trying to do, if it fails, the policy backfires, then of course people are going to come out at that point. That's what I'm saying. Are you going to run the risk? Look, I think 500,000 white Brits left last year, and they replaced them with Bengalis and Afghans. I'm sorry. The millionaires are leaving England, and they're replacing them with low-quality people. I'm sorry. I have to say it like that. But they are low quality. What quality are they bringing? What skills are they bringing? Most people are not. So I'm saying maybe bring in all white Brits here if we want to fill up our quota, because we need to grow as well.
But I also think that's the whole immigration thing as well, is not just those countries. I think they're also talking about people from Western countries or Western society coming to Australia as well.
Oh yeah, I'm all for it.
No, but I'm thinking a lot of people
if you
are
put a
against
limit
it.
on. Yes, well, if you put a limit, it applies to everyone. It's a blanket. limit.
Yeah, but I think, but that's the thing that I feel, and I might completely wrong here. I feel that the protest, a lot of the protest is not just about people from underdeveloped
these
countries.
protests are for everyone.
It's for everyone.
Yeah,
It's
this is for everyone.
From people from America, from the US, from England, from Germany. I think
No, I'm
it's
trying
just
to meet
about,
halfway.
Yeah.
Because the government wants to grow. So we want to grow our population. So I'm saying, well, if you want to grow your population, then bring people in